everybody. It's Sunday, 9 a.m., and that means it's time for Lisa's Changing Perceptions with your host, Lisa Efflandt, brought to you through the wonderful, kind, gracious, incredible support of the Bremer team, Keller Williams Success Realty. BremerTeam.com, 847-456-6334. They bring families home. And good morning, Lisa. How you doing?
Good morning, Pete. How are you?
I'm
having conflicts because
awesome.
now you said it's double cameraed, and you know I have issues. So
Oh, well, here's the wonderful thing is we can see Lisa on camera one like this, or we can, if you're watching this morning, or we can see Lisa on camera two like that.
So you're going to cause me more trauma as
there
I
we
start
go.
the show. That's great, Pete. Thanks.
No, I think this is fantastic, and everyone else does too.
And why we're talking about the camera and how it works, I do want, if you would please, I have people ask how to watch live on YouTube. So can you repeat that while we're here?
Yes, you can go to youtube.com/C/216thenet. That's youtube.com/C/216thenet if you'd like to watch on YouTube, or you can simply follow 216thenet on Facebook if you'd like to watch there. But of course, we know we have several hundred thousands of listeners every Sunday morning for Lisa on 216thenet.com, real life internet radio, and the majority of you are over on Radio Garden listening to 216 the Net, and we really, really appreciate you for doing that.
I've had people ask me because there are, believe it or not, there are non-Facebookers in this world.
Yeah,
there really are, and so they've asked, like they listen, but they like to watch live. Not that to me that's exciting to see me live. I'm really just sitting here, and you're hearing the same thing. But they did want to, so I wanted to repeat how they go about doing that. So welcome everybody who's come. I'm Lisa with Lisa's Changing Perceptions. I am a self-empowerment coach, hypnotherapist, NLP practitioner, and all kinds of other things. You can reach me at lisaschangingperceptions.com, lisaschangingperceptions@gmail.com. You can reach me through phone or text at 262-573-7055. And as always, you can reach me through 216thenet.com. Pete will get any messages to me that there may be or questions. I do encourage people to send in questions. I do promise not to use a name. I may use initials so that they know I'm addressing them or what have you, but not names, to keep privacy unless you want to be known. And if you want to be known to share your question or your comment or your experience that you feel would fit into the show, you are welcome to link in and come on live. You're also welcome to contact me and ask to be a guest on the show that you'd like to work with me. It's kind of a free mini session, so to speak, if you'd like that. I would love the show to get more interactive, but I do also understand that sometimes these topics are private and personal. Because of the judgment out there, people kind of want to keep to themselves, and I have respect for that as well. But if you are open to it and willing to it, and it's something you would like to do, I encourage it. I welcome it. I know Pete puts a link up in the chat under comments that you can click, and if your audio and video, is that right, Pete? If they click the link in their audio, tell them how that works.
Yeah, you'll follow the instructions. You'll turn on your camera for your webcam. You'll turn on your mic so that you can be heard and seen, and then you'll join in the broadcast, and you'll come in over the live streams through Facebook and YouTube. However, you will actually be broadcast out the entire radio show, so your voice will reach just as many as Lisa's and mine.
So please, and I do welcome and encourage that if you'd like, even if you just have a question or whatever it is. I would love the show to become more interactive. That's why I always like Pete, excuse me, being here with me, because I do better when I have somebody to talk to sometimes rather than just ramble. So I encourage questions. I encourage comments, and this will surprise you. I even encourage that if you disagree with me, to say so, as long as you're as respectful with disagreeing with me as I am respectful of the fact that you have an opinion that's different. So please feel free, debate me. Maybe in that I'll learn something. Maybe in that you'll learn something. Maybe in that a listener will learn what they needed to learn or see what they needed to see. Who knows? But I do encourage it to be more interactive. Excuse my voice too. That's very hoarse. The weather changes and these storms that came in also have kicked my butt this week a little bit. So I'm sinus recovering as well. So, all right, we're going to start the show today. And I was talking to Pete before the show. I actually debated not doing this topic today and not talking about this topic today because I'm still kind of in the process of sorting it out, which I'll explain. But then I thought, you know what? Part of my belief and part of my job, so to speak, is to help people sort things out that are mixed up. I call it, when we get real overwhelmed, I call it the ball of yarn in the mind. All of our thoughts are intermingled, like you would round up a ball of yarn and it would be all different directions and all different angles, and that's kind of what it is. So I thought, you know what, why not talk about it while I'm in the process of unwinding my own ball of yarn, so to speak. So I decided to come on the air and talk about it during the process of it. So some of it may not make sense. And you know what? That's okay, because that's part of it. And some of it may make too much sense. And some of it may be overthought. And some of it may be all kinds of things. But I decided to just do it. So this will maybe be a little bit different for some of you than what you listen to. And my reason for it is that I know people come, and oftentimes people come because they think I have all the answers. I don't have all the answers. If I had all the answers, wow, wouldn't life be amazing? I do have lots of tools and resources to find the answers. I do not have all the answers. And so that's why I decided to go ahead and talk about this on the air today, because it's the way I find my answers. And I find it through using the tools that I actually practice in the office. So today's a little bit vulnerable, and there's people that'll say, "Oh my God, professionalism! You shouldn't let people know your wounds. You shouldn't let people know that you're screwed up. You should." You know what? I've never been a believer in that. I'm not going to be a believer in that. I don't sit on a pedestal of superiority. I am very well aware of the gifts that Spirit has given me, of a connection that's a little bit different. And I'm very well aware of my personality traits that make me search for answers. I'm very well aware that I'm a fixer. I've always been a fixer. Look for the answer, fix the problem. And I don't have any reason to feel like I have to sit here and be perfect. And I'm going to just go with it. So anyway, we'll get with this, and Pete's going to help push me through if I get stuck, even though he may look at me cross-eyed every now and then. So this week, last 2 weeks, as he's doing right now, just to be a smartass, the last 2 weeks have been overwhelming, frustrating, ick. I don't know another word for it. It's been ick. Lots of things have been put in my presence and in my surroundings that have pissed me off, made me cry, made me frustrated, made me think the world has no hope, and made me just feel overwhelmed. And I've talked about it in the past, and it's true, and it happens a few times a year. It seems to happen, and it's almost like I absorb too much, and then I can't take it anymore, and I need to wring out the sponge, so to speak. And when I do that, I kind of shut down and go into my own space. The people who know me best know that I'll just kind of say, I need to shut down. And I shut down and I go into a quiet spot and kind of clear out the clutter. And it's interesting because people have said, well, how do you know it's time to do that? And that's part of kind of what we're going to talk about in the show today. It's not like some magical thing that says, hey, go to your quiet space. What has happened, and what tends to happen, at least for me in the past, is a lot of things come into my presence and I catch myself reacting instead of responding, which I've talked about on the air before. Reaction comes from emotion. Reaction comes from hurt. Reaction comes from feeling like you need to protect and defend yourself. Reaction comes from a place of non-thought, because it's all emotion. And response comes from a place of understanding, a place of compassion. And it's funny because then as soon as I say that, usually the response is, well, I don't want to have compassion for the person that hurt me. Well, I'm kind of not talking about that. I'm kind of talking about having compassion for yourself and having an understanding that you're overwhelmed and that you need to sort it out, and taking the time to do that so that you can come up with a response that is good for you. And so then that goes into the topic of, well, it's only good for you then. No, that's not really what I meant. And I realized as I was trying to think about these things and talk about these things that life is really quite confusing. People are really quite confusing. And so that took me to a whole nother world. And that's this. I told my mom, I said, sometimes I sit and I wonder if I'm insane because of how I break things down and separate things. Go ahead.
Mary Sutherland just says, "Hi, Lisa."
Good morning, Mary.
She's happy to
Blessings
see
to
you.
you. Mary has just gone through a very, very, very traumatic experience that I resonate with. So thank you for even taking the time and energy to come with us today, Mary. I love you and I think of you right now very often. But I told my mom and I was like, I think I'm insane sometimes because of how I break things down and sort things down and look at things. And it's come to this show, The True Colors in Society. So I knew that I needed to sit down and go quiet when I began to react in a way that was not something I was proud of. And I've made that comment before, like that sometimes when I'm really angry, I tell people, oh, I cannot respond to this right now in a way that I'll be proud of later. So I step away from it. And I caught myself not being able to do that. I caught myself being reactive. I caught myself being gaslit. Which, go ahead.
No, Mbamwe Temo from all the way from Cancun says, "Happy Sunday to you."
Good morning. Happy Sunday to you too. I found myself being reactive and being somebody I wasn't very proud of. I was even being gaslit, which to me always makes me laugh when I look back at it, because it's like, you totally know what gaslighting is. And what the truth of it was is that I knew I was being gaslit while it was happening. And I kind of was like, I don't care. You want to gaslight me? I've got the kerosene. Let's build that fire. And that was an emotional reaction. It's a defensive mechanism. And so anyway, I went quiet and I looked back at it and I saw all these things. And what I've realized is our society has learned to view in a very narrow perspective, in a very monotone, I don't know what would be the word for that, perspective. And that the true colors in society have nothing to do with skin that we seem to be so focused on right now. The true colors in society are the experiences that people have had, the things that made them who they are, the things that have happened in their life. And the truth is that we are all different people. We are all different things inside of us. We are all a prism of colors. We are all a prism of experiences. And sometimes the light shines through the prism and it's a beautiful rainbow that we love to see and that we're proud of and makes us shine. And sometimes we're the glaring light that's in your eyes that causes us to be an issue. And sometimes when it goes dark, there is no light. We can't see the colors. Does it mean the colors aren't there? No. It just means that right now it's too dark to see the colors. But the colors are still there. The light will shine again. The colors will be shown again. We're all these different aspects of people. So I went down in quiet and looked at all these different things and looked at my own reactions to things and went, okay, why did you react this way? And it's kind of a mirage of things. It was the little girl in me who didn't feel good enough or didn't feel like she could have done enough or didn't please enough people. It was the woman in me who has conquered and been a warrior during difficulties, and is very proud of the fact that she conquered all these things and didn't come out a hateful, bitter person. It's the person who's looked at addiction and although was blessed enough to be stopped before there was a physical addiction, had her moment in time when the escape was happening and she didn't even know it. It's the person who says life has so much possibility and there's so much opportunity and I can't wait to grab every single one that gets placed in front of me. And the person who has sat and said, God, please take me now. I'm done. There's no point. It's all of these people and realizing that everybody is all of these people. We're all of these people. We are all of these colors. So when we talk about color in society, and it kind of came up last week, that instantly it went to skin color. Well, that's part of our problem, that we only see with our eyes. We're only seeing life through our eyes. Our society and people have become so walled off that we don't see the true colors of anything or anybody anymore. We're so busy protecting ourselves from being hurt. We're so busy protecting ourselves from hiding our own demons. We're so busy protecting ourselves to fake happy. And I am so sick of people saying, I don't fake happy, I really am happy. Well, if you've got to make a public service announcement about it to convince me,
then you're probably not.
right.
Right.
So, and if you have to make a public service announcement to tell me how faithful you are, if you have to make a public service announcement to tell me how happy you are, if you here's a topic that I ran into it last night, so I'll explain it. If you have to make a public service announcement that you are strong enough to be without a partner in life and that you are perfectly happy that way, then you are not. Because if it's genuinely something that you are and that you're feeling, you'll just do it. You have no need to convince me. You have no need to tell me.
Yeah.
And I don't judge those things, but the reality of it is those are all walls and guards that we've all put up in order to protect ourselves from struggle, to protect ourselves from difficulty, to hide our demons from the world. And sometimes it's good that we do. Sometimes we got some ugly demons. Sometimes we need to keep them suckers caged. We don't need to show them, but it doesn't mean they're not there. And our lack of being able to be aware of that and to know that and to feel that is causing so much detriment and so much hardening of society, because the true colors of society aren't seen with the eyes. They are felt with your heart. They are heard with your ears. They are the moments and the colors that touch a part of you that's a real aspect of you. Why does somebody's story hit home for you? Because you relate to it, because it resonates with you. Why does somebody say something or experience something and you feel it too? Because you've developed an empathy through going through a difficult experience or even a happy experience. But truthfully, the things that really hit our hearts tend to be the struggle. The happiness is the reward of getting through the struggle. To spend your life faking happy is what's causing the pain and the detriment. It's causing these walls to be built up, these things.
What do you think of that phrase where people say, well, you got to fake it till you make it?
I believe that we have to keep ourselves in a remembering of there is hope and there is another place to be. But you don't always have to fake it. Everybody needs their circle or their people that they don't have to fake it through. I mean, if I'm having a bad day, I can't go into my office and cry.
Well, yeah.
I need to suck it up. I need to realize that is that aspect of me having a struggle right now. And this aspect of me is in front of somebody who's come to me for help. And I have the tools to help them. So I need to set that aside right now and I need to be this.
My question really was more because I hear that so much. Oh, well, you gotta, how you doing? Oh, well, you gotta fake it till you make it, which is a way of saying I'm
freaking miserable and I wish somebody would see it.
And life sucks shit right now.
Right.
But at the same time, it seems to me that sometimes, and I've been there myself, sometimes you all of a sudden wind up believing your own faked BS.
Exactly. It's called being locked in state.
Yeah.
And exactly. And that's what I was getting to, is that there are moments we do have to do that because it's part of the journey. It's part of what we have to do. It's part of the work towards going where we need to go. But we all need that circle of a person or people, even if that person is only you, who accepts the fact that you're really sad, or accepts the fact that something really hurt you, or accepts the fact that you're 53 years old and you still remember what happened when you were 6 and it still stings.
Or you're 54 years old and can't remember 6 at all.
Because you've blocked it out.
Yeah.
Maybe that was your fake it till you make it moment.
Who knows?
Right. See what I'm saying? Yeah. Like there's all these different things that occur and happen are natural and normal, and they're part of the process. One of the things that I believe is that it's not how happy we are that society sees that makes us who we are. It's the true understanding of all aspects of ourselves that make us who we are. And it allows us to have more compassion and understanding for others. There's so many people to say, oh my God, I totally understand and I am not prejudiced in any way, shape, and form over anything. Bullshit. We all judge something.
And Mbanwe, again, all the way from Cameroon, says, for me, true colors is inside a person, not outside him, because your best friends can kill you while you don't know his colors. Meaning you may think that person is your best friend. They could be stabbing you in the back.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's that's the prism inside of all of us. It's the light. When the light shines, we shine. But sometimes it's dark and we don't shine. And we're all those different things. And it's not about what parts of us are within us and what created those parts to be there. It's about how we view them, how we see them, and who we choose to be. What parts of us do we choose to be? What are our values? What are our priorities? And if you made a million mistakes in your past, if you're still breathing, you get to choose a different aspect, choose a different part, choose a different path. And you know what? That part will grow. And that's how I see the fake it till you make it thing. It's that, okay, you know what? I see myself being this person. I see myself reacting this way. I see myself making these choices. And I see the life that it's creating around me that I don't want. But I know what a good life is, and I know what I really want, and I know when I feel good. So I'm going to head in that direction. Does that instantly make you that person? No, it doesn't. But if you're heading in that direction and you're focused in that direction, then you're going to absorb and become, and you're going to make it as long as you keep your focus going. Does that mean there will never be hardship? There will never be detriment. There will never be sadness. There will never be work. There will never be anger. It absolutely does not. That is a fairy tale freaking land that somebody put out there in a self-help book, and the world sucked it up. And why did the world suck it up? Because it was easy.
Yeah.
It's easy. It's easy to suck up the BS. The truth is we're all these different types of people. I had my moment. And part of what happened is that last Friday night and Saturday night, I decided to change my environment and go into something I hadn't been into for a while, which is a great place for me. And it's my biker friends.
There you go.
I love them, but that's not my world. It's a part of me. It's a part of me. There's the girl who had her motorcycle and went on her bike runs and did all that. And truly, if I could afford a motorcycle again, she'd still come out every now and then and say, let's but my life and the things that make me happy and the things that resonate with me, it doesn't fit into that world to be there nonstop. But sometimes that part of me says, hey, I've been ignored too long and you need to go do your thing. And I've experienced and I watched, and that's what I do. And it was funny because in my, I don't know if you want to call it dark, whatever moment you want to say I was having this week where I was kind of shut down, I looked at all these people and I saw so many different types of people. And I'm blessed that many of these people I've known for 40 plus years. And I've watched and I know who they are and I know what they've experienced in life and I know what they've been through. And I know all the different aspects of them. And I thought, this is why I see them different than maybe society would just see, big scary leather biker dude or chick on them. They must be evil. They must be mean. They must be. But I thought, no, it's because I know your colors. I've seen your colors. I know the way they shine. And there's a particular person who I have the utmost respect for. And it's funny because if you saw them, you'd be like, oh, stay away from them. That dude's probably not a good dude. The truth is they are one of the most integrity-filled, self-aware people I know. They are very well aware of the kindness and the struggle within them. They are very well aware of their goodness and their demons. They are truly one of the most intellectual people I know. Now, if you talk to them, you might not think that because it's not about a status at a job. It's not about, some genius level thing, but they are genuinely one of the most self-aware human beings I know. Mm. And every time I talk to them, which isn't very often, it's not, we don't have the same life and the same clique. But when I talk to them, it is one of the most satisfying experiences I ever have, because they are truly one of the most self-aware people. And as much as they look like the big, scary biker dude that people would judge and determine. See, people say, I don't judge a biker. Yes, you do, because as soon as you see them, you assume that they're mean and that something's bad about them. So that's a judgment. Whether you want to put, a pretty coat on it to make it look better, it's still what it is. And I will tell you about this person, and I don't even know if they listen to the show or not. If they do, love you. Sorry. They happen to be somebody who works with young children and got teary when they talked about what all this that's happening in the world right now is doing to the young children. And they work with K through 5, fifth grade. So little kids. Mm. And they got teary when they said, it's so sad to see these children. They work in a school. It's so sad to see these children come to school and they're now afraid of me because I have on a mask. To them, that's scary. Mm. It's so sad to see them sit quietly and stare downwards. I don't see any connection with these kids anymore. I miss seeing them smile when they walk in because their faces are covered. I don't want to hear any friggin' lectures about the damn mask, because I'm not having a debate about that. I'm talking about the true effects that somebody is seeing and feeling in knowing who they are. And I thought, gosh, nobody sees this part of you. I mean, we talk freely because he knows me. You know what I mean? Like it's a safety zone. Yeah. It's a safe person to talk to. He knows that. I know that. And I thought, wow, that's so amazing. Look at that part of you. And I will tell you, this person's also a recovering heroin addict. Hmm. So they've been sober like 8 years. Bless me and forgive me if I messed that up, but I think that's true. So then you go, oh my God, biker and recovering heroin addicts. He must be evil. And I laugh because I think, God, if you only knew how incredibly emotionally intelligent this person is.
Well, and you kind of just glossed over that key word when you were telling people don't judge, which is recovery. How bad a person are you if you're taking steps to eliminate a portion of your life there?
Exactly.
That was bad.
But the judgment is the initial addiction. And that's how I have an argument too. Because people say that because you've developed an addiction, it means that you're a bad person. Well, I'm going to have the same argument again. If you are such a horrible and vile person, and that's who you are, that's who you've decided that they are, how did they feel something so deeply and painfully that they needed the escape? Yeah. It was a choice that they made and found an escape in, that something in their mind, whether it be from their upbringing, whether it be from whatever experience they had, said, this will take the pain away. And was it a great choice? Probably not. Probably not looking back on that and saying it was the great choice. But the truth is, it was a choice made in pain. Yeah. And it was a choice made in hurt. And it was a choice made in needing to escape that. So are they, as a person, a bad person? Well, a bad person wouldn't feel the pain enough to need that. Right. But again, that's all the colors of people. That's all the colors and all the different things and pieces inside of us. The same way the prism is. Depending on where the light's at, how bright the light is in the moment.
Depends on what you're going to see.
Right, what level of light we have depends on how the colors shine. Do they shine bright and bold? Are they almost blaring? That's the bullshit. People. I shouldn't say people. That's the bullshit part of us that fakes it. That we're such a ray of sunshine, and we have all perfectionism, and we don't allow anything to upset us ever. You're the glaring ball of light that's making the prism blind me, so I can't see anything else. And what do you do when that happens? What do you do when too much light comes in and it's blaring at you and you can't see anything else? What do you do with that? You push it away, right? So all these people who think, well, I'm the greatest ray of sunshine in the world, you're actually having people push you away. You're having people push you away because they can't resonate with that because it's not comfortable. It doesn't allow the full spectrum of the world. It doesn't allow the full spectrum of life. So I was talking to this person and looking at this, and they're not the only experience, but they were the most profound one for me. Because what's really interesting is that they have made obviously many mistakes in their life, right? Or what they consider mistakes. But they didn't become a bitter, hateful person over it. They looked at themselves and went, hey, you know what? How can I improve myself? How can I be better? How can I do better? And they didn't just say that in words. They actually lived it and became it and owned it. And they own their own bullshit to the level that they told me a story. They were in a horrible motorcycle accident and they were hurt pretty bad. And it wasn't their fault. A young girl had made a mistake. I'm going to cry when I say this. I cried when I told Pete. A young girl made a mistake driving. Fairly new driver. She made a mistake. Inexperienced. She made a mistake. Guess when we've all made our mistakes in life, people? When we didn't have the experience. Okay. And he was harmed pretty bad. And so after he recovered and healed, he said he started to think about it. Now, there's a lot of people who would say, oh my God, I can't believe that kid has a license. And oh my God, how stupid and blah, 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 blah. And they'd only be thinking about themselves and what had happened to them.
Right.
And instead they thought, oh, I'm going to cry. That poor little girl, she made a mistake. What's she doing to herself? And they located the information to contact them and called that little girl and said, you made a mistake. That's it. I'm okay. You made a mistake and do not carry this the rest of your life. Do not. I'm fine. And I thought that's amazing. That's truly the colors of people. Because why did he do that? Did he do that because, oh my God, this is the right thing to do and it'll make me look good to the world? No, because you know what? Very few people know that story. He didn't go out and blast it across the world about what a saint he is. He wasn't doing it so that the society would think he was better. He did it because he remembered, God, I know what that feels like. I know what that feels like to make a mistake and to look back on it and hate yourself. Hate yourself to the degree that you become an addict. Hate yourself to the level that you think you're not worth it. I know what that feels like. And that poor young girl, God, I hope I can stop her from feeling that, at least for this. And as a person, he wanted to share his experience, but not his experience of trauma, his experience of forgiveness. Mm. And I was like, you're so amazing. And if you only had any idea how amazing you are, not because of where they drive, they don't even make a ton of money. None of those things that society sees, but because you're truly a genuine soul and a self-reflective human being who does not need to announce what a saint you are and what a wonderful thing you are to get a reward. Your heart, your soul, your spirit, your integrity, everything you choose to become and chose to become, you just did. You just were. Period. You just were. We are all every aspect of dark and light, good and bad, whatever words you want to use for it. That's why I love the yin yang symbol, because we all have a little bit of both.
Yeah.
It is not our mistakes that we make in our life. It is not the traumas that happen to us. It is not the harm and the hurt that occurs to us. It's what we become within it. And sometimes we become the friggin' example of success and healing and moving forward. Sometimes you are the example of the friggin' warrior that knows how to get through it. And sometimes you are the angry little kid who didn't get their way or who didn't be seen. And sometimes you are the broken, shattered, weak person who just needs somebody else to fix it. And sometimes you are sad. And sometimes you are self-loathing. And sometimes you feel unworthy. And sometimes you feel like the smartest, most able human being on the planet. All of those things are you. All of those things are your colors. Hiding your colors, dulling the colors, closing the blind so that you can't see the different colors and you get to just choose. When you have a prism that's the light shining through, you don't get to turn it and choose what color it is. You're not experiencing the prism. You're trying to control the prism. You're trying to control the outcome of the prism. You're trying to control what aspects of the prism get seen. Why is a prism colorful and beautiful? Why does a prism show light the way it does? Because of all its intricate angles and turns and curves and sharp edges and smooth sides and all the different directions that it goes. And sometimes the light hits it when it's in a certain direction, and it looks a little bit different than it does when it's in another direction. It's all aspects of the prism, and the prism's still beautiful. That's all we all are. And seeing all these things and all these people hiding all these aspects of themselves, it's so sad to me. I actually had a client come in, and it was about the third session, and they really had opened up a bit or taken down some walls or whatever words you want to do for it. And I could see how overly emotional they were. And I said, what do you really want? What's breaking through? Because you knew something was coming out that had been buried for a really long time. You just knew, like you could feel it. What do you really want? And they broke down crying and they said, I want to know what love is. Now, this is a person in their late 40s. And I said, well, what do you mean? What do you mean you want to know what love is? I want to know what it really feels like. I said, well, what do you think it feels like? She said, I don't know, because every time I think I might feel it, I stop it because it's scary.
Wow.
And I thought, okay. Now, to me, that was sad, because to me, love is one of the greatest feelings you can feel, and it's part of our purpose for learning how to experience here. But I thought, wow, that's really amazing. And, some people would say, well, that's sad. That's ridiculous. What do you mean you've never? Okay, you're looking from your own prism. I truthfully in that moment saw her to be one of the bravest people I have talked to in a long time. That was her brave part of her. That was the part of her spirit and her soul that said, wait a minute, the only way I'm going to change this and experience is that if I acknowledge that it's there. If I acknowledge my desire to feel it. And I'm horrified to acknowledge my desire to feel it. But I'm acknowledging my desire to feel it because I want to. And that's bravery. To me, that's bravery. Yeah. That's the warrior. That's the warrior in you. That it's not how tough you are or what car you drive or what house you do or, how many people. I love this statement. I ignore everything in my life that brings in drama or sadness or anger.
No, you don't.
Okay, first
you focus on it so hard that you work on everything you can to block that out.
Right.
That's how that actually works.
That's fake happy. Yeah. That's fake happy. And the truth is that how much of life are you missing? How much of life are you missing? Well, because truthfully, some of the most beautiful colors of people are all those things. If you allow them to shine, if you allow that part of the prism to show itself. Those are some of the most beautiful colors of people. The person that I was speaking of, and I won't bring up their name, and truthfully, I don't even know if they listen, but if they do, please, I love you, don't be mad. They didn't become the level of integrity and self-reflection and character that they are because they walked around singing in the daisies. They became that because they saw some of the most painful, tragic, hurtful things, and people had hurt them, experiences had hurt them, and they had made choices that they weren't proud of. And instead of hiding them and burying them, they went, who the hell am I? And who the hell do I truly choose to be? Because that's the thing, is it's a choice.
Yeah. And that's, way back in my 40s, like the olden days. That's when I had some of my moments that brought me to the whole, if you look in a mirror, self-actualization, self-realization, and self-examination is probably, bar none, and I've seen some scary, scary shit, bar none, the scariest thing I've ever done, ever looked at, and ever participated in. It was not fun.
No, it's
it
not
really
fun.
wasn't. But the result was me feeling like a much better person. And then Silas, good morning, Silas. How you doing? Silas, all the way from Arizona, says some people suffer from love avoidance.
Absolutely.
It's a good thing that this person you mentioned has acknowledged the challenge. That's interesting.
Love avoidance, absolutely.
Huh.
And that's what I was going to talk about next, actually. So thank you for bringing it up. Is that many people have put so many walls up around their heart because they don't want to be hurt. And I get it. I get it. I've had my heart broken in life. That I can promise you. I've had my heart broken in life. But here's the interesting part. In order to have it hurt that bad, in order to feel loss, in order to feel the missing of it, it had to be so amazing in the first place.
Yeah.
So what are we losing by protecting ourselves from hurt? Not that we should intentionally go into the fire, and at no point in any way, shape, or form is abuse acceptable.
No.
So let's put that out there. But that's a different type of thing. When we're blocking out all these things, what are we missing? What are we truly missing? And to not know what it feels like to love means it's been a lifetime of walls off. And to know what it feels like to be afraid means that you loved so much, so it was something worth it. Where is the balance there? And that's where I find that accepting all different aspects of yourself and knowing those things, it helps you to reprioritize the truth of who you are. It helps you to reprioritize what you really want. So often I ask people, what do you really want? And they go, I don't know. I just want to be happy. Okay, well, that's not like the magic purchase at Walmart this weekend. So what is it that we really want? Where do we really want to head to? And here's the reality. You're not going to get there tomorrow. I don't know that we ever truly get to the point where we are 100% complete, because I love it. I am 100% complete and comfortable in my own skin and with myself. Okay, repeat that 10 times and see if you believe it, because I don't. And if you keep saying it to me, I still won't. We're all these aspects, but it's what we choose to be. Who do we choose to be? Sometimes we need to be the light for somebody's prism. And sometimes we need to close the blind and walk away.
Yeah.
It depends on the situation. And I ran into a situation recently. There's a person who's very important in my life, who has had a very trying life filled with much trauma, and made choices that most people would look at as bad or poor choices. And in truth, they were based on consequence and outcome. And I've always went, oh my gosh, if they could only see the beauty in them, if they could only see the goodness, not that the dark wouldn't be there, but if they realized that the good was there, if they realized what their actions were doing, if they, just if they only saw those things. And then it was interesting because they ended up kind of going into a contemplative place where they took off the glasses and the fog and, cleared away the fog. And they really were looking at things. They were really looking at truth. They were really looking at realities that for years they haven't been able to see. And they were even acknowledging the damage that's been caused in their life from their choices and the damage of their responses to things. And they weren't even really responses. They were really reactions. And they were really self-reflective of some truths that they had not seen for years. And I was like, oh my God, thank God, finally. And they acknowledged it and talked about it and did all these things. And then after 6 or 8 weeks of that, they went back to being exactly who they were before. And I was like, oh no, that makes me angry. Why is that triggering my anger button? Because truthfully, it's not my responsibility or up to me who they choose to be.
Right.
But it was triggering something in me. And I was like, what is this doing? So I was looking, who is this hitting? What part of me is this hitting? And that's the truth, people. When you get that upset and something affects you that much, it's hitting something in you. It's hitting one of those colors. It's turning the prism. It's changing the prism. It's hitting something. It's in you. It's in you. Something in you is being triggered by that. What is it? It's not that person's fault. They may have caused the reaction, but the reaction is in you. Acknowledge it. Acknowledge that it pisses you off or that it hurts your feelings. Acknowledge whatever it is.
Oh,
And that's how you see it, and that's how you bring it up. But here, hold on, let me finish this.
Go ahead.
Then I went, Lisa, what are you doing? And I went, because the healer in you feels like a failure. Because you saw yourself helping and pushing and doing what you believe is true and following your faith and all these things. And the healer in you just got wounded. The healer in you just felt like failure. You just failed. They didn't complete the journey. They didn't keep going. You failed. And I thought, God, did I fail? And then I went into that mindset, like, did I fail? How did I fail? What could I have done different? And that's part of what caused me to just go into shutdown mode, because I was making myself crazy, that this was my fault. What was wrong with me that this person made these choices? And I was like, okay, Lisa, now you're insane. Shut down. That's usually when I trigger, because I was being very gaslit, very reactive. Okay, Lisa, shut down, shut down, shut down, because you're becoming what you experienced.
Yeah.
You're becoming what you experienced. Is that the part of you? Now, how can I become what I experienced? Because there's a part of me in there that is that. There's a part of me in there that is that angry, hurt person, that is that angry, hurt girl, that is that rape victim, that is the person who's angry that God took her son. These are all real things inside of me. But is that the person, is that the part of you choose to be? Is that who you choose to be? Is that who you choose to put out in the world? Is that the person that you're proud of? No, it's not. Shut down. Shut down. Shut down. And look at it from a different perspective. And so I go through and I get angry at God, and I get angry at the spirits that talk to me, and I get angry at everything that ever happened to me. And I allow myself to be angry. I do it with myself. I do it in my quiet space, and I do it very aware that I'm just allowing it to surface and acknowledge all those aspects of me that got harmed. That's it. I'm very aware of it. And so I woke up. And obviously somebody up there was helping me, because I was also blocking them out. Don't even talk to me. I don't want to hear. Truthfully, I don't want to hear any of your love and light shit right now. I don't want to hear compassion. I don't want to hear empathy. I don't want to hear nothing right now. I'm going to be angry, and you're going to let me be angry. So I would block out anything that I got. I was really just having a tantrum. The little girl in me going, I'm going to do what I want to do no matter what, was raging her shine. And I woke up, and that's when they explained. I just knew. I don't know how to explain how this happens, but I wake up and I just know. In other words, almost like the whole picture gets placed in front of me while I slept. So that when I woke up in a clear state and I didn't have time to think, it was just in front of me. And that's when they said, the wounded healer in you feels like you failed. You didn't fail. You did the best you could with what you had, with truth and integrity, and with genuine love. Once a person becomes aware of their behavior and the harm that it causes and the truth of themselves inside of it, and goes back to harm, it is now a choice. You are no longer required to heal. That is a choice.
Yeah.
You are no longer required. And by required, I mean my own ethical belief in helping others. Okay. So I don't mean required for everybody. You are no longer attached to that. Because once we acknowledge our response and our reactions, and we know that they bring harm, and we know that they bring a life that we don't want, and they know that they bring detriment and sadness, and all the negative things, we are no longer, are you ready? Nobody's going to like this. We are no longer the victim.
Correct.
We are no longer the person who's hurt and fogged and can't see it, the truth, because of the pain and the hurt. Once we have cleared that fog and seen the truth, and we go back to those behaviors, it has become a choice. That is the difference.
And that's the bingo.
Yes.
That's why a while ago when you were going through all that, again, back in my 40s, situation in personal life forced me to take a look at myself. And I did not want to. I did not think there was a need. But, okay, finally, dude, this is a problem. That was extremely difficult. But out of that, what became easier and has continually become easier is to be aware of how I feel about things, be aware of my emotions, and take an introspective look. It doesn't work every single time.
No, sometimes we don't want to.
No, sometimes, like you said, you want to be pissed off.
Right.
You want to be mad about a thing, and that's okay. Acknowledging
As
that it's
long as we
okay
do not
hurt
send that.
someone else and
Correct.
send it to someone else. You can be angry about a thing, about a situation, about something that's happened, as long as you don't turn that into outward harm and outward
Right.
violence. That's okay. But it also, I mean, it doesn't work every time, but it does. It has that whole event, although it's a long time ago, has given me a wonderful ability to say, okay, Pete, your thoughts and emotions, how are they serving you in this moment? Is this going to be the
And how are
outcome
they
that you
serving the
want?
ones you love?
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So is this going to be constructive? Is this going to be destructive? Which way do you want to go with it? Because you can do whatever you want. You do have the ability to turn it into something fine and dandy, turn it into something that doesn't. You can just let it go if it does. If it's not worth,
Right. You can decide you don't give a
just say,
shit. Sometimes it's okay to decide you just don't give a shit.
You can look in your bucket, and if the fucks are empty, then the fucks are empty. your fuck bucket is sorry, Pete. You're out of fucks today. Okay, I'll get more later and let it go. So
Exactly.
yeah,
And you know what? And maybe it'll be filled tomorrow. But your moments are your moments. But when we deflect those out, we fake them. It takes so much energy. Because my mom, each morning I say good morning to my mom. We chat by messenger a little bit. And the last few days, and she's gotten okay with knowing that this is just how I am. I'll say, I'm very ugly and foul today. But I'm fine. And I will get a hold
ugly
of
and
you.
foul, but I'm fine.
Well, but meaning I'm not, like, you don't have to worry about me.
Right.
That's my mom. She doesn't want me to be sad.
Gotcha. Okay.
So I'm fine. I'm very ugly and foul today, and I'll talk to you later when I'm less foul. And then my girlfriend, who's in South Carolina, who's kind of my mentor when I first started discovering my connection to spirit, and she got a hold of me. She said, I haven't heard from you in a couple of days. She texted me, I haven't heard from you in a couple of days. I'm just checking in on you. And I said, thank you for doing that. I love you dearly, but you're an empath, meaning she literally absorbs other people's stuff.
Shayna says we need your mom on the show with a big grin.
So I said, you're an empath and you don't need my bullshit. So I love you. And I think in the next day or two, I'll be a decent human being again. But for right now, you don't need my bullshit and I'm okay. And she went, okay, don't forget I'm here if you need me. And I'm like, thank you. Did I need her? Oh my God, I wanted to vent to her so much because she's one of the few people who would truly understand between the connection of what we feel we're obligated to with this connection and the real world and the mixture. And she ended up sending me a link because she knew exactly the state I was in. And she sent me a link of a thing on YouTube somebody had done about another person who's connected this way that was 1 foot on each side, meaning what it's like to live with 1 foot up there, down there, whatever way you
wherever
look at
it is, yeah,
and 1 foot here in the reality of life. And it was amazing. I thought, see, because she knows me. Did I need her in that moment? It would have made it a lot easier to vent to her who truly got it. But I also know that she's an empath and that she has her own struggles. And knowing the level of empath that she is, and I don't even mean empathy. To be a true empath and to have empathy is not the same thing. When you're a true empath, you literally absorb the energy of others. How selfish of me that would have been. So I waited until I had a little less bullshit. And I had it sorted out and cleaned up a little bit. And then I texted her and I said, what state of mind are you in and where are you at? Because I'd love to call, but I'm only semi-normal. And what she knows by that means that I'm unbalanced. I'm not. And she said, you know what? I'm good right now. Okay. That's just respect. Yeah. That's just respect for another human being. Is she one of my venting grounds? Absolutely. Does she understand my crazy? Absolutely. Does she understand the strength and the wonderful parts of me? Absolutely. Does she also know my dark and my ugly? Absolutely. And you know what? I have respect for the fact of why she understands all that, because she knows it, because she is it, because she lives it. So I knew, oh, you are too ugly to be passing this shit on. Like, do not do this. So I just went to my quiet place. Would it have been easier for me to vent it all out to her and deflect it all out to her and puke it all out on her? Absolutely, it would have been easier. But for me, that's not right. That's not who I want to be. That's not something I would be proud of later. And I damn well wouldn't appreciate somebody doing it to me.
Yeah.
Have respect, have the balance, know who you are, accept your own bullshit and accept your own wonder. And then we're running out of time. And I knew that this would happen because this is a really big topic. And there's a couple topics we're going to do that is with this. Stop seeing life through your eyes and start seeing it through your ears and through your heart and through your feelings and through your emotions. And very few people will do that because you know what? It makes life a little more difficult. It also makes it more amazing. It also makes you see the miracles. It also lets you sit next to the man that people would judge and realize, oh my God, you are a freaking gift. You are a gift. It allows you to do all these things, but it also gets your heart broken. It also makes you look at your own stuff. It also does all these other things. But you know what? That's all the prism. That's all the colors. It's all the beauty. If the prism only shined one color, you'd get bored.
Right? Oh man, yeah. You can only look at rose colors.
Right.
I mean, roses are lovely in a vase or on a bush. But after a while, if that's all you're looking at, that rose bush gets a little boring, and that vase
that's
gets
where
a little boring.
Statement: take your rose-colored glasses off and see the truth.
And
you know.
By the way, Wendy Munson, who's my mom, says fabulous show.
Hi, Wendy. Thank you, honey. Take off the rose-colored glasses. See all the colors. See all the colors of the prism. It just is the way it is, and stop seeing society with your eyes. And I'm gonna. It's the end of the show, and this is emotional, so I'm gonna be fast. This is interesting. During my introspection, I have body image issues, hence why I don't like the camera being on. And this is what happened, and it's truth. And I was having complex about everything about me. Every bad thing about me is all I saw during this dark thing. And I was standing there going, I hate my cat sag. You can't see it on the air, but it's my lower belly I have hyperinsulinism. There's reasons for it. And all I could focus on was, oh my God, look at what these jeans look like. And I was so upset. And my husband, bless my husband's heart, my dead husband is the most trusted thing in my world. He came down. He said, you know what I see? I see my babies. I see your strength. I see your nurture. I see your mom in you. And I thought, God, see, that's what I mean. Like, we get so focused on what people tell us we're supposed to be and what everything is supposed to look like with our eyes that we don't see all of it. And I thought, thank you. And that's not just because my husband is my husband. That's, for those of you who don't know this, actually, my husband has passed away. He comes to me in spirit. And I thought, because he still sees, and now even more so, the true inner of things. Like, he sees it from another aspect. And I thought, oh, he's just pulling me back into perspective. Because how often do we judge? I know somebody who just met an amazing human being that they reconnected with after 30 years by phone and by messenger through Facebook or whatever. And then they saw a picture of what they look like now 30 years later and went, really? You just spent weeks talking about what an amazing human being they were. And you said they didn't age gracefully. Seriously, people, stop, breathe, stop, look at yourself. What does that say about you?
If you say someone did not age gracefully, what I hear, because I hate that phrase too. I can't stand it. Well, they didn't age gracefully. Nah, you know what they did? They aged very, very interestingly. Let's find out what made that.
What are their colors? What created it? Right.
Yeah, let's find that out. By the way, Mary Sutherland says your show is so important. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary.
You have found your true path. And very quickly, go ahead and tell everybody where they can find you.
Lisa'sChangingPerceptions.com, Lisa's Changing Perceptions at Gmail. Call or text 262-573-7055. Lisa Changing Perceptions on Facebook, or as always through 216thenet.com, and Pete will get me any messages or comments. I look forward to everybody next week. Hope this week made sense. Just kind of venting out the truth about sorting out life. Have a great weekend, everybody. Go pick your color of the day.